We're fighting for a kingdom. We're not going through what we're going through just for the hell of it. We're fighting for a kingdom. We're fighting for everlasting life. We're fighting for righteousness to rule once again on the earth. We're fighting for our power, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, to set things back up in the proper order.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. That belongs to the apostles and the LG and Miss Rule well, teach well, being a great example to us younger brothers. And peace and blessing, salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners that have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. You know, what I want to go into, you know, we're dealing with, you know, before the glory. All right. Dealing with the topic of before the glory, you know, because we understand that the scriptures, you know, prophesy, you know, of a great glory to come, you know, for the elect, you know, of Israel. All right. Beginning with those men, the 144,000, you know, and the rest of the 1/3, men, women, children, all right, who were predestined, you know, to come out, you know, of darkness, you know, and come back into the light, man, which is Yahweh Shai, you know, through faith and obedience. Now, I want to read Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, you know, because at the end of the day, as men and women, we are now learning our roles and our duties according to the righteousness of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. And that comes before the glory. You see, this is a process. Before we get to that glory, there's a process. You know, this is Sirach. It's like Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. It said, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High, keep His commandment, for this is the whole duty of man." You see, now we understand as men, you know, why are we here? You know, as Israelite men, all right, we are here to forward the agenda, all right, of our power in the earth. You know, and Yahweh Shai was the greatest example that he came, all right, when he came as Yahweh Shai, all right, he had the mindset of forwarding, you know, the Father's agenda in the earth. You see, and now we'll forward the agenda of Yahweh Shai in the earth, man, you know, which they have the same agenda, and that's, you know, to run existence in righteousness, man. And we're coming back to that understanding. We understand our duty now. You see, you have, you know, a lot of men talking about their purpose, you know, which as a man, you know, being on your purpose as far as, you know, understanding, you know, you need, you know, to be on point, you know, to take care of the household, but how much more spiritually to take care of the household of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, and ultimately to take care of existence, you know, under Yahweh Shai. You see, we have a much higher purpose than of this worldly realm, and we have came, you know, to that understanding as men. All right, because you go into that word duty. All right, this is duty from the Elam Online, and it says obligatory service. All right, we're obligated to this, man. This is why we were created, man. The sons of God was created for the purpose, you know, of establishing righteousness in the earth, man. You know, and we understanding it. All right, said that which ought to be done, also the force of that which is morally right. You see, hence proper and just. You see, so now, all right, we're in a mind frame, you know, that hey, righteousness is the way to go. You know, we're not curious, you know, in the ways of wickedness anymore. Esau Edom showed us the example of how far out of hand, you know, the earth can get, you know, being ran in wickedness. You see? So now, all right, we have a mind frame. All right, now we have a balanced mind frame when it comes to judgment, you know, even with judging with the law. So now we're balanced. We're becoming fully balanced, you know, to be those eternal judges, man. You see? And Yahweh Shai, he was that example, you know, and he finished his course. You see? But just to go into that some more. Now, when you go into Wisdom of Solomon, all right. All right, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, all right, verse 18. It says, "But thou, master in thy power," and this is speaking of the Most High. You see, because he's perfectly balanced in how he judges the earth, man. Because there's, particular situations where we, think judgment should come swift, where we think, judgment should be extreme, and the Most High, he lets things, play out, according to his liking, because why? He's a perfect balance, power. And that's what we're grown to be, being grown to be. It says, "But thou, mastering thy power, judges with equity, and ordereth us with great favor. For thou mayest use power when thou wilt." Yeah, so the Most High, he can just he can erase existence if he wanted to and just start it over, man. That's the power that he has, man. You see, but he uses what? Equity, man, which is righteousness, man. All right. It says, "But by such work thou hast taught thy people that the just man should be merciful, and has made thy children to be of a good hope, that thou givest repentance for sins. For if thou didst punish the enemies of thy children, and the condemned to death with such deliberation, giving them time and place whereby they might be delivered from their malice, with how great circumspection didst thou judge thy own son, unto whose fathers thou hast sworn and made covenants of good promises." So it's saying, the Most High, all right, he could, just easily just bring torment on Esau. It's a light thing for the Most High to judge, a whole nation of people, that's against his people. You see? Well, what we're seeing is the Most High, he's showing what? Long suffering. That's what we're being taught, long suffering, with particular things. Now in the kingdom, it'll never get this far out of hand, you know. But we'll understand, judgment, especially after those 1,000 years when Esau was removed, he's exterminated. We're gonna understand, the full concept of judgment. It ain't all about just seeing nations suffer, but it's about them to learn righteousness, man, which we'll get it. It says, matter of fact, let's get it and go back to it. When you go to Isaiah, all right, 26, because the whole purpose, of enforcing the laws is for, all right, people to learn righteousness, man. It said this Isaiah 26:9. It says, "With my soul have I desired thee in the night, yeah, with my spirit within me, I will seek thee early." Yeah, and that's the mind frame that the elect have came to. We desire a righteous kingdom now. We desire, a righteous way in the earth. It says, "For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness." You see, it's all about the earth learning righteousness, man. But first, the leaders, the judges, of Israel, all right, the future kings, joint heirs with Yahushua, we had to come into a particular understanding of judgment and our duty and our purpose, So, going back to Wisdom of Solomon 12, all right, and 19, and it says, what started at 20, it says, "For if thou didst punish the enemies of thy children, and the condemned to death with such deliberation, giving them the time and place whereby they might be delivered from their malice, with how great circumspection didst thou judge thy own son, to whose fathers thou hast sworn and made covenants of good promises. Therefore, whereas thou didst chasten us, thou scourges our enemies 1,000 times more, to the intent when we judge, we should carefully think of thy goodness, and when we ourselves are judged, we should look for mercy." You see, so this whole thing that we've been going in captivity, out of captivity, these heathens ruling over us, the Most High having favor on us, taking his favor from us. It was all to groom us to be judges of this eternal kingdom, this eternal righteous kingdom to come. So we will have balance, you know. The situation that we're in, is for us to understand, where the heathen are coming from, because we've been mortals, we've been, subject to sin, so we won't be unbalanced, in judgment, you see. So we had to understand, come to this conclusion, before we come into this glory, you know. So going back into it, all right, and Yahweh Shai, he was that example, all right, that we follow, man, because Yahweh Shai, he was faithful unto his purpose, unto death. All right, when you go to St. John 19 and 30, I start 29. It says, now there was set a vessel full of vinegar, and they filled a sponge with vinegar, and put it upon hyssop, and put it to his mouth. When Yahushua therefore had received the vinegar, he said, it is finished. And he bowed his head and gave up the ghost. So we want to finish our course to get back to that glory. All right, because Yahushua, he finished his course to get back to that glory. And that's what we have to do. You see? And it comes with understanding our duty, understanding our purpose, man. All right, we don't look at death, the same. We don't look at the opinions of the people in the earth. We don't that doesn't even factor in when it comes, to understanding what we have to do, as men to get back to their glory as the men of Israel of the hopeful elect, man. All right. So when you go to it, all right, that's why these things are written. And this comes out all the time, the Hebrews 12 and 2. I got this hanging up, in my study room, man. This a key scripture. When you go to Hebrews 12 and 2, it said, looking unto Yahweh Shai, the author and finisher, all right, which he was the pioneer of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne. So we have to have a mind frame to despise the shame, because why? We see the bigger picture. You see, we're finna come back into a glory. We're finna be the eternal, all right, kings, of existence, man. Beginning with the earth, but ultimately over all existence, man. You see, and we understand these things, man. So before the glory, we know there's a suffering, but see, we get it now. Like I always say, the elect get it, and we're making ourselves ready. You see, so when you go from there, all right, let's get, because even you women, you should be understanding your duty, your purpose. What's your all right asset to the nation, man? Making yourself ready for that. You see, everyone's making themselves ready, man. The elect, is making themselves ready, man. When you go to, all right, the book of Esther, give a corner example, for a spiritual meaning, spiritual edification. All right. This is Esther, the book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 12. It says, now, when every maid's turn was come to go into King Osiris, after that she had been 12 months according to the manner of women, for so were the days of their purifications accomplished, to wit 6 months with oil and with myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purifying of the women. You see, so that purification process for the elect men, we're going through it, which our purification is going to come through a lot of suffering, man. You see, and really with women, in this society, taught them to be promiscuous, to have no discipline, to live a life of pleasure. You see, when we was all taught, to be undisciplined, live lives of pleasure, man. But women was really given the liberty to destroy themselves, man. So now, even the women, the sincere women that believe, they're going through a purification, a spiritual, purification process, man. We all are, because we're like, the men are even liking, into what, man, those virgins, and we're preparing ourselves for the king. All right, and you women, you should have a mindset of preparing yourself, all right, for a king. But first, you should understand your duty, all right, your obligation, you know, understanding the mindset, that you should be in, to benefit, a king, man. You see, putting off that old way, that promiscuous way, hey, being disciplined, being chaste, those things are going to pay out, and it's all going to pay out on both ends. For us, as men, the power and authority that we got, coming, and it's for women being able to benefit, in a society ran, by your husbands, man. So going from there, because we have to fall in love with the discipline because we know what it's going to lead to. And it's a fight. All right, Wisdom of Solomon 6. All right, and 17. It says, "For the very true beginning of her her speaking of wisdom is the desire of discipline, and the care of discipline is love." Yeah, we have to desire discipline, man. We should desire discipline because we know what it's going to produce. All right, we know this what it's going to produce, and see, this is just a phase. When we enter into the glory, we're gonna get to enjoy, pleasures. You see, which I'm gonna get that, and it says, verse 18, "And the love is keeping of her laws," going back to what their duty. Now we understand our duty. All right, the house of David was meant to enforce the righteous laws of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai in the earth, man, and govern the earth with that. You see, and the giving heed unto her laws is the assurance of incorruption, which is what? Immortality. And that's why the laws will be within us, and we will have immortal bodies, man. All right, and incorruption maketh us near unto the Most High. We'll be joined back unto our power. You see, therefore the desire of wisdom bringeth to a kingdom, man. The desire of wisdom bringeth to a kingdom, which is what? That glory, that power, that authority, everything that men, all right, should want, man, comes to what? The desire of discipline and the desire of wisdom and understanding our duty, understanding our purpose. And then we can come into the glory, after the suffering, we can come into the glory and the pleasure, man. And let's get that, you see, because when you go to Psalms, all right, 16, all right, and 11, and it says, "Thou would show me the path to life," and that's Yahweh Shai. And how did he show us the path of life? By his life that he lived, man. He didn't care about the current society of this world. He was dead to this world. He was all about, his kingdom that was to come. All right, and preparing, the believers, all right, to be in the same mind frame, to look forward and hastening the kingdom that's to come. That's what our glory is, man. And that's what we will enjoy, righteous pleasure. All right. It says, "Thou wilt show me the path of life, in thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore." So we will get to enjoy pleasure in the kingdom, man. But first we gotta, understand what our duty is, understand what our roles are, understand, have a desire for discipline, have a desire for wisdom, because the earth is going to be ran through wisdom, wisdom going to be the thing in the world to come, man, not, the lust of the flesh. All right. Because at the end of the day, there's a way to enjoy the earth, man. There's a way to enjoy pleasure. Wine is not wicked. It's just the way, that is done in this current setup. Sex is not wicked. It's just the way that it's done in this setup. But in the kingdom, we're gonna get to enjoy those things to the fullest, man. You know, hey, you women, you know, that are holding yourself chaste, you see, you're gonna get to enjoy that fully in the kingdom. You know, men, we're gonna get to enjoy these things fully. You see, it ain't gonna be just a hobby. Like now, sex is a hobby. No, it's gonna, you know, of course, it's gonna feel way better than it does now, and we're gonna be bringing forth a nation, and we're gonna be nation building. You know, it's not just gonna be a thing to do. You know, it's a great pleasure that comes with it. You see, but there's also a purpose for it, man. So now we're understanding, you know, our duty and our purpose. Now, you know, we're finna get ready to come into what their glory, you know, but it's a suffering, you know, that's in between there. So we prepare ourselves to suffer to come into what, man, their glory, and then we get to enjoy these pleasures, man. You know? So that's the point. You know, I hope you brothers and sisters edified. Till next time I say shalom.